Hello and welcome to the Rum Revival. It's Arminder here, and today I've got these two samples right here of rums from Down Island Spirits. They're an independent bottler here in the US, and these are two single cask Jamaican rums, and I'm going to try them and give you my kind of gut reactions to them. And these are newer rums. They've been on the market now for maybe 2.5, 3 months or so. I'm a little late to actually opening up these samples, but Mike over there at Down Island Spirits was kind enough to send these over. So what we have here first is the Jamaica HD 2022. This is a Hampden Estate rum, and in fact, it's their HLCF mark, which is the base distillate that's used for rum fire. It's one of my favorite rums out there, period. And this is HLCF, aged about, I think, 3 to 3.5 years in ex-bourbon. And I think all of that aging happened, if I'm looking at my notes here off screen, all in Florida. So aged out here, not in Jamaica, but bottled at 62.5% ABV. And of course, because it's Hampden, it's aged on a double retort pot still, molasses base. There's some wild fermentation, some dunder, and some muck. Oh, and the pricing on this is $50 for a 750. Now the next one is frankly pretty dang interesting. You see aged HLCF kind of, not a lot, but you see it a good amount, I'd say. This is really interesting. This is the Jamaica NY 2008. The NY stands for New Yarmouth, which is a distillery out there in Jamaica. It is owned by the parent company of Hampden Estate, Ray and Nephew. And, you know, we don't get rums branded as New Yarmouth rums. Like, they don't have a New Yarmouth brand under, you know, that they sell their rums to, but the rums that are produced there are either used in maybe potentially various Appleton products, like as part of blends, potentially, I don't know, Ray Nephew, potentially Karuba, those rums. There's not a ton of like open information, at least that I have access to, about how and where New Yarmouth stuff kind of goes into, but you know, occasionally we will get single cast releases, and this is one of them, which is cause for excitement. Now this is molasses base, double retort pot distilled. Now what's really interesting about this rum, beyond the New Yarmouth of it all, is kind of how it's aged. So its initial 9 years of aging was in an ex-bourbon cask in Jamaica at the distillery, great. And then 8 more years, but this time those 8 years are in England, and they're not in the ex-bourbon cask. In fact, they're actually in a French Oak Sauternes cask. Sauternes is a type of kind of sweeter wine. So really fascinated by that mix of casks there. And so altogether aged, I guess, about, 17 years. And in terms of pricing, it is pricey. It's roughly around $175 for a 750. The Jamaica HD 2022 is still available on the Down Island Spirits site. The New Yarmouth is no longer available. It is sold out on their site, but I did or have seen a couple of retailers still having, some amount of bottles in inventory. So it's possible to get your hands on this. Oh, and the other thing to mention is that the New Yarmouth is bottled at 59.5% ABV. I need to point out, because they will come after me if I don't, the New Yarmouth is a single cask pick between the Rum Curious Club, I guess here on the West Coast, and the Florida Rum Society on the East Coast. This is their maybe second or third collaboration in terms of single cask selections. And so I just needed to make sure I call that out, because if I don't say it, I know one of them is gonna leave a note. So preempting that, though again, engagement is great. So you know what? Leave those comments, guys. Love that. All right, let's start off with the Jamaica HD 2022. All right, let's give it a smell here. I mean, it smells like Hampden. It smells like HLCF in all the best ways. I love that kind of aroma. I love this aroma. There's like a candied pineapple thing, like a slightly sharp, slightly acidic, but slightly hard candy sweet pineapple thing that, oh man, that is really, really nice. It doesn't smell overly like intense or proofy, which is kind of nice. It doesn't feel like ethanol or alcohol. It just kind of has this kind of, at once kind of, oh, this hard candy might be super tasty and delicious, but underneath it there's like this layer of slight danger that I'm just kind of picking up from the aroma. That's a little bit of funk. Anyways, I'm really excited. Let's take a sip. Cheers. Ooh. Yeah. Oh, that keeps on going. That's nice. This is, as you'd expect, right? This is HLCF, so it's going to be bold, it's going to be intense, and it has that, but it's, compared to like drinking Rumfire, this is much more kind of put together, given the age, of course, or the aging. There is a little bit, a hint of nail polish remover, but it's never in your face, never overwhelming. There's black pepper here. There's definitely a slightly industrial, slightly chemically kind of thing to be expected from a higher ester Jamaican rum. And you can definitely, I think, kind of as a support structure, I could pick up the, 3.5 years of aging. It's not intense, not like a bold oak forward note, but you feel like that scaffolding is there. And that kind of oak, wood aged flavors, not cranked up really high, but just enough there to allow then the kind of funkier estery kind of notes to kind of pop from there. Really like the kind of peppery note here, actually. Underneath the peppery note, I am picking up a little cough medicine, to be expected. It's kind of a note that I get in a lot of Hampden stuff. But there is a faint amount of a little strawberry, a little pineapple and strawberry. Sometimes I'll get like strawberry on the aroma of Hampden stuff and of HLCF. I didn't get that really on the aroma here, but now I'm picking it up faintly on the palate. There is definitely a marker note here as well, a little black marker. I've had aged HLCFs and other Hampdens that the markers really turned up. Not a thing I really like, but I know other people do. Here it's not. It's very manageable, very approachable. It's just kind of a faint trace of marker, like taking and uncapping a marker. Got to quickly doing one of these underneath your nose, but that's it, I guess. It's interesting because this is, what I say, 3.5 year old HLCF. Well, this year we got another HLCF that was bottled and released at around 3 years. And that was the Hampden 1786, whatever it is. So these are very comparable rums. The exception being, of course, that Hampden release, the 17 whatever, that was bottled at what, 48, 46? I should know this. I did a whole damn video. Let me go grab it. 1753. It's close, not really, but sort of. 46% ABV. So very comparable rums, given the kind of similarity there in aging. Obviously, this was aged in Jamaica. The Dan Allen was aged in Florida. I imagine there's some amount of difference in temperature and all that. But all that to say, though, that this one, the Dan Allen being $50, this is a heck of a lot more. I've seen it for, $75, $80. And, you're getting it so much more proof down. If you're looking at purely just kind of ABV, I mean, the Dan Allen, far better value, for sure. And I think if you drank this and you thought it was maybe a little light and tame, then I think the Dan Allen is probably what you were looking for instead. And this is the rum you should try or buy. I think if this was priced a little cheaper, I think this is fantastic in cocktails. Not that this couldn't be good in cocktails, but it's pretty high in ABV. This is kind of proof down perfectly, in my opinion, to be a great cocktail rum, but the pricing is a little tough to make that a thing. So I would just kind of say, maybe just buy the Dan Allen. All right, so now let's finish up on the new Yarmouth. Very excited about this one. A lot more color here, as you can see. I think it was aged 15, 17 years, whatever. The other one was only aged 3-ish. Big difference in color. Really interested to see what the Sauterne here does. And also just excited about the New Yarmouth. I don't have a lot of New Yarmouth stuff. Haven't drank a lot of New Yarmouth stuff. Ooh, here I get vanilla, but it's a sharp, there's something underneath that vanilla. This really great coming together of vanilla, but also like a sharp marker where it's not obvious that it's a marker. It's not obvious that it's vanilla. Like they've kind of come together and harmonized really well on the aroma. Yeah, it's kind of a weird sensation, but like in the best way, the best kind of weird. Ooh, maybe I'm picking up a little bit of citrus here, a little orange. Definitely some nail polish remover. Yeah, the nail polish remover, that marker note never gets to the point where it's overly sharp because I think it's really rounded out by the wood. Maybe it's more of that vanilla, maybe it's a little bit of wine sweetness that's rounding it out, but it's creating a really kind of interesting sensation in my nose. It's intriguing. Ooh, got a random note here, but gummy worm or like gummy bear of some kind. Interesting. Anyways, let's take a sip. Cheers. Whoa. Okay. Taking a moment. Letting that wash over me. I think I experienced like 6 different things in that first sip. Yeah, I don't know. For some reason, I'm kind of doubling down on that gummy bear kind of note. Evoked that fruity element, that sweet element of a gummy bear. But trust me, there's a lot else going on, but just, yeah, calling that out. Up front is this sweeter, rosy, fruity, oak, water flavor that if all the rum was just that, I think it would be too much. That unto itself would be, the whole time too, it would be a little too not cloying, not rich, but some other word to describe that experience. However, 2/3 of the way through, it starts to really dry out. And then you get the acidity, the funk, the industrial note, the marker, the Sharpie, and suddenly everything as a collective experience is so cool. In totality, love that word. I love using that word now in my videos. That creates such a cool set of changes and turns and swerves. And I love that. I love how, because it ends on that drying note and that industrial note, it kind of resets in your palate, so you're not just stuck on that oak wood, wine, fruit, sweet thing that happened up front. In hindsight now, I enjoy that note, and I kind of want to go back and have another sip, which I'm about to do. Yeah, this is a sensation, is the way to describe this. This rum is a sensory, sensational kind of thing that happens, and I really dig that. Now, is it worth $175? I mean, that's, to each their own. You can't, I don't know. If you have a cool $175 laying around and you want to buy an interesting rum, this is an interesting rum. I think this is money well spent if you are in the market for something a little exclusive or kind of one-off or unique, singular, right? One of my favorite words when it comes to this channel. This is that, for sure. Anyways, 2 really kind of fun, cool, exciting rums, different price points, kind of different kind of experiences, but definitely worth checking out. And I think if you ever have the opportunity to try the new Yarmouth, and especially to see what that Sauterne is doing to the rum, worth checking out. That's it for me. I'm gonna kind of finish these 2 rums and drink some more rums. Anyways, thanks so much for watching. Catch y'all next time. Cheers.